Hi everyone, welcome to this week's video. This might be a little late, but better late than never. I'm going to be doing this full face of makeup look inspired by the Pantone Color of the Year Mocha Mousse. So I was really excited that this was the color they chose for the year because it works really well for makeup looks for all over the face, and I was able to shop my stash and use all items that I already owned. I also wanted to give a shout out to my earrings in this video. I do have three lobe piercings and then one up here as well. And all the earrings I'm wearing today are from Uncommon James, which is the jewelry brand owned by Kristen Cavallari. And it's not sponsored. I don't get any sort of like promo code or like link or incentive or whatever, but I have just always been a fan of her jewelry, and it is slightly on the more expensive side, but I will say it's one of the few brands I've found that's actually worth it. I have never had a piece of jewelry from her line that has tarnished or like gone off or turned green or anything. I can't say the same for some other brands that I've had, aka Electric Picks. So I recommend, and I think that she does a couple sales throughout the year. There might be a spring sale going on now, so it's a good time to kind of look for some earrings. She always has really interesting studs. I have a lot of her necklaces. There's bracelets, there's rings. She's got it all, and it all I think is just like so. It's like a mix of classic but trendy at the same time, and everything that I have. I mean, I've had these for years, and I still feel like they look great. Like I said, not tarnished. They add that little bit of like luxury to your look without like spending a ton. So highly recommend. And then also my sweatshirt, one more chapter. This is from a brand that I found on Instagram, Inkwell Threads. I'll link them below as well. I kind of mentioned it in my video a couple weeks ago. I know YouTube and videos and things, most people use them for like an escape. And kind of to not think about what's going on in their lives, the real world, but like unfortunately that's getting harder and harder. And I personally am a very strong proponent for libraries and museums, and that's something that is under attack right now. So even buying something from a small brand that also supports libraries, she does days where all of the purchases from that day will go towards a certain organization or a nonprofit. So I really love that about her brand, and you're supporting a small local person. So I highly encourage you to check that out. And if you use your local library, keep using it. Let people know that you're using it and that you're a supporter of libraries, even if it's just when you're at the library the next time, thanking the librarian or whoever is working the desk for being there and doing their job. That can go a long way in brightening someone's day. And if you want to go bigger, write to your local officials or your state official about how important the library is to you and your community. So that's just my little caveat for that. Not trying to be in politics or anything into it, but I'm just a proponent for libraries, and there's just a couple things you can do that are easy, free, not free, whatever, that can support that cause if you so choose. So I just felt like I would give that a shout out today as well. So let's get started in the look, and you can see everything that I chose from my own collection that I already owned to create this like bronzy mocha mousse look. So the first thing I'm going to do today to prepare for this look is use some glowy bronzing drops. I chose to pull out my ones from e.l.f. I haven't used these in a while, and I'm still honestly trying to figure out the best way to incorporate bronzing drops into my makeup routine. I did do a video a while ago comparing 3 different bronzing drop products, so I will link that below so you can see the differences in them. But I decided to put this on first as the base and then put my foundation on top just to see if some of that bronzy glowiness from the bronzing drops would kind of show through the foundation a little bit and create more of that mocha mousse bronzy glowy base that I'm looking for this look. All right, so that's with these e.l.f. bronzing drops added. I think you can definitely see like a little more glowiness coming through in those areas without it being like too much. I'm still figuring out the best way to use bronzing drops. It feels like I either use too much or too little. And then, I've tried like mixing it in with foundation before, and then it just makes everything too dark. So still figuring that out. but you know, we're gonna work through it. So I'm gonna do some concealer and face powder, and then we'll be back to do more of the mocha color makeup. Okay, so to recap what I've used so far, I did prime my face with my e.l.f. Luminous Putty Putty Primer. This is just a little mini one, but it's the luminous one, which I thought would be good for today since I kind of want to go for the more glowy mocha look. And then I did the bronzing drops from e.l.f. My foundation was the Fit Me Matte and Poreless. The concealer I used was my NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum. And then I set my face, or I set under my eyes with my CoverGirl Clean Fresh translucent powder. And then I kind of did some other areas of my face with this setting powder from Hourglass in dim light because it's got a little bit more of that glow to it. And again, I just thought that would maybe add a little to these areas. So that's what we've done so far. So let's do the eyes and then we'll do the rest of the face after we do the eyes. I feel like that can kind of help determine what kind of like blush and bronzer you want to use. But I was going through my eyeshadows, and of course the great thing about the Mocha Pantone of the Year, like I said in the intro, is that it's a color that probably most people already have in their makeup collections when it comes to makeup. Having those neutrals and those browns is pretty common and also very accessible at different price points. So I went through my eyeshadow palettes, and I think the palette I have that kind of fits the bill for this look the most is my Sahara palette from Alter Ego. It's got a lot of those browns and like reddish browns in it. So I think this is what we're going to use, and this is supposed to be a dupe for the Natasha Denona Biba palette, which again, I don't think that she makes the bigger palettes as much anymore, but it's supposed to be a dupe for that. I believe this is around $24 on the Alter Ego website, so it's a great deal when you're trying to dupe something. And then I did also pull out my actual Natasha Denona. This is the mini Biba, so you can kind of see, and this is very well loved. I have pan in that middle shade. I use these two blending shades a lot, so you can just kind of see clearly that that's what the inspiration was. So that's two price points. You've got the more expensive version, the more affordable version with more colors. I mostly think I'm going to pull from the Sahara palette today. So, oh, also, usually I prime my eyelids, but today I was feeling kind of lazy, so I just kind of brushed whatever excess foundation I had onto my eyelids. So that's what we're starting out with. That usually seems to work just fine, especially for more neutral looks. So I think I'm going to start out using this Camel shade, and we're going to put that in the crease. So next I'm going to darken the outer edges, and I'm going to use the color right next to Camel called Canyon. It's a lot darker, but I think it's going to give us more of that mocha look that we're going for. So I'm just going to lightly tap that into the corner. So you can see the difference of just adding that extra dimension in the corner with that darker shade versus not. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. I was thinking I was maybe going to use this bronze shade for the Oliver lid color, but I'm a little worried that it's going to be too dark, but I still want that glowy look. I think I will. I'm going to use my finger, and I think I'm going to do like the lightest amount. I think I'm just going to tap that in the center and just keep it kind of light. I don't want the look to go too dark and like smoldery, but I do want that like bronzy mocha glow. So I think we can lighten it up by pulling in the lighter shade in here, the lighter shimmer shade called Mirage, which is supposed to be a dupe for this middle shade in the Biba palette. I feel like it's not quite. The one in the Biba is slightly more pink and darker, but it's pretty darn close for what it is. So again, I think I'm just gonna use my finger for that and tap that on more in the like inner half to kind of lighten everything up. Now I'm gonna go back to my original blending brush. I'm not adding any more color to it. I'm just going to blend these edges. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that look. So I think now I am going to line my upper lash line. Whoa, throwing things. And I'm gonna use this brown eyeliner from Sephora. It is the Colorful Wink It Felt Liner, and I have it in the shade Cup of Joe. So I'm gonna do that on the upper lash line, and then on my lower, underneath, I'm going to smudge some of this Cold Brew eye crayon from Hard Candy underneath, and I think that's really gonna kind of deepen the look and kind of bring that more bronzy mocha shade down. I like that the shade is mocha, and like a lot of the things I already have are like coffee names like Cold Brew and Cup of Joe. All right, so I always feel like a liner really can bring a look together. And again, I use like a felt tip liquid liner, and if you wanted an even softer line, you could totally just pull like a really dark brown shade, or black if you wanted, from a palette that you already have. Like this dark brown would work, or even the black. So I think that looks pretty good. Like the look in general, it's still that like mocha brown shade, but it's a little more bronzy and light, I think. So now what I'm gonna do some mascara, brows, and then we'll come back and do the rest of the face. And for mascara, I'm gonna be using my all-time favorite, my Hourglass Unlocked Extensions mascara. It's a tubing mascara. I highly recommend, even though this is very expensive, it does wonders for me. So I'm gonna apply this, some brow stuff, and then we'll be back. So just to show you the like effect and the difference of mascara, this is no mascara. This is with that Hourglass Unlocked mascara. I just think it looks so nice. It lifts and volumizes, and it's like that right combination of like wetness without being overly wet, where I feel like my lashes stay separated. That's my biggest complaint with mascara. If you've watched any of my previous videos, I need it to be like that just right consistency between wet and drier. If it's too dry, it flakes on me and is messy. And then if it's too wet, my lashes clump together and you've got like 3 lashes. So this is what I like. I like it to be, it coats, makes them very black, but keeps them separated while still having that like lightness and wetness. Okay, so the eyes are done. So let's move on to the rest of the face. I know we did those bronzing drops earlier, and of course if you wanted a more matte look, so you could use maybe a more matte cream bronzer. Like I've been using my Chanel cream bronzer. Makeup Revolution makes a really great one that's much cheaper, so that's a recommendation. And I think what I'm gonna do today is use a powder bronzer on top, like a more glowy one, and I have been working on this one in my Hourglass palette. It is that more bronzy look, but I think to kind of switch it up and give myself a chance to use something else and to offer something more affordable, I'm going to use my Flower Beauty Heat Wave bronzer. This is actually really nice. It's got that glow to it without being overly glowy. And I will say it does kind of look a little more on the orange side, but I feel like it blends out super nicely. So this is what we're going to use today. So I'm just going to use a bronzer like fluffy brush, and we're just gonna put that in all the areas that I want some bronzer and contouring. And then I'm just gonna blend with a blending brush. So that is it blended. I just always feel like it adds like that really nice glow and just like kind of blends more seamlessly, and it's really nice for that kind of powder. And again, this is the Flower Beauty Heat Wave bronzer, which is like super affordable. I'll try and link it below. So now for blush, It's hard because you don't want it to take away too much, but I want to have kind of a color that kind of melds into the others. So I'm going to go back to my Hourglass palette, and I'm going to use this more mauve toned blush because I think it will kind of blend nicely with what we already have going. And I really want the bronziness and that mocha shade to be more of the focus, but it is important to still bring a little bit of the pink color to your cheeks, add some life and dimension. Okay, so I think that looks really nice. Like I said, I feel like those colors kind of can complement each other because it's not overly pink or bright. It's kind of a little more toned down and blends and kind of still gives us that like bronzy glow. So I think the last thing we'll do on the face is some highlighter. And again, back to the Hourglass palette. If you didn't know, I am trying to pan this palette in 2025. So I am trying to reach into it on the daily and use more things in there than what I'm currently working on in my project pan, which right now is the bronzer. So I am trying to dip into all of these at some point just to kind of give myself a head start. So we're gonna go into this bronzy, like finishing powder highlight, and that's what we're gonna use. Yeah, I feel like that looks so pretty right there. And again, it's not looking too like bright and crisp. Sometimes highlighters, you put it on and you're like, whoa, there's like a beam of light right there. And this is a little more subtle and blended into the colors that we already used. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So the last thing we need to do is lips. So I chose a couple of options that kind of go with whatever look you're going for to match, whether it's glowy or matte or whatever, and also picked a couple different price points. So for lip liner, I have my most brown neutral lip liner that I own, which is my Naked 2 lip liner from Urban Decay. This is on the pricier side, but I love the NYX lip liners as well. And so there definitely would be a shade in there that would be comparable to this. But since this is what I own, this is what I'm gonna be using. And then I chose like a clicky pen style and like a little balm gloss to put over top. So I have the e.l.f. Click Pen, the Pout to Clout Lip Plumping Pen. I have this in the shade Toasted. And so this is, you know, the more affordable version of the Tarte Click Pens. So that's a good option for that. I actually might like these better than the Tarte ones. And then on top, I have my Summer Fridays lip balm in the iced coffee shade, which I just had to do it. It's called iced coffee. We're doing a mocha look. We got to add this somehow. So I'm going to line my lips and then we'll put those two things on top. Have y'all seen that hack that people were going, like doing on TikTok and Instagram and stuff where it was like, you know, you're trying to do your makeup super quick or in the car and you just put this between your lips and like I tried that. It like looks horrible. It does not work on me. Maybe you have to have like not very shaped lips. I don't know. But I'm going to put the e.l.f. Click Pen on. I think that looks really nice with the lip liner. And then just to top it off, you don't need a gloss per se, it's pretty glossy, but I'm gonna add just a little bit of the iced coffee Summer Fridays. Mine is like getting low. I use this all the time. So just put that in the middle. Actually adds a little bit of moisturization as well. All right, so this is the final look that I came up with. I was really excited that I was able to shop my stash to create this look. I think that's what's so great about, especially the past 2 years, the colors they've chosen for the Pantone Color of the Year. It works really well for makeup. You know, if they pick like a lime green or something, like that's gonna be real hard to do a look with. You can't do that all over your face. Whereas the mocha shade, you know, we can do that in the bronzer, we can do that in the lip color, we can do it in the eyes. So I think it's all nice that it's so like complementary. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I encourage you to shop your stash when you're trying to create looks. Even if it's just like for a trendy look, you probably still have a lot of things that can already work and you don't need to go buy all new things. I will try and link below some of the items I used, especially the more affordable ones, so you can keep an eye on those if you want to purchase them, wait for them to go on sale, whatever. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this week's video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get to see all of my upcoming videos, and I will see you next week. Bye.